fast track, I myself will be going over there to make sure I procure your food stock. I'll be going there myself now.
Down to Lebanon.
Graduate.
That's the cost.
I, Saidu Nalo, swear by the Almighty God, that the evidence I shall give, in this case, before this court, between the state and the accused persons in the dock, shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nalo.
Good morning.
So we are continuing from where you stopped last time when you were testifying. Are you okay?
Just a minute.
Vikroma for second accused, Nalo.
Huh?
Vikroma for second accused.
No, cancel stop the evidence. There's already a witness in the box.
Oh, since he hasn't started.
No. Cannot until he's already been sworn and he needs to testify. Yes.
It's your Lordship. So, like I was saying, we are going to continue from where you stopped the last time. But if you can recall, you indicated to the court that you had served in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sometime around 2015 or thereabout, before you were posted to New York in 2016, 2017, thereabout.
Yes, my Lord. But let me just explain that briefly. As mentioned in my last testimony, I was recalled in April 2015, and my duties as a mission at the time were reassigned to other colleagues, but I was also tasked.
Judge is writing, you have to watch his pen.
But I was tasked to mainly continue with issues relating to the 2015 agenda, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, because I was the lead negotiator for Sierra Leone and the G7+ group of countries at the time of the negotiation for both the future we want and the Sustainable Development Goals. And then my other duty, which had to do with the Committee of 10 on Security Council Reform, of which His Excellency the President is the coordinator, being a very important assignment for Sierra Leone, I was also to continue holding that file and to mentor my successor, on to the point where there will be a seamless transition. And there was also negotiations going on for financing, for development, which I was also the lead negotiator for Sierra Leone and the G7 plus group of countries. It was also at a time when we are dealing with residual issues emanating from our graduation from the Security Council, which, as an expert, I had successfully worked with my superiors to steer Sierra Leone towards that graduation.
So all of this was in 2015?
2015. So
and where were you?
My successor came in August 2015. So the man who was wrote all of these other files that I just explained, he came in 2015.
Your successor came where? Came to where?
To New York.
Again, who was that successor?
Mr. Alan George.
And you said at that time the head of Chancery was who?
Mr. Alusain.
At the time you left New York in 2015 to come back to capital, that is Freetown, Sierra Leone, did you have any knowledge about the Chancery building?
Yes.
The subject matter of this action?
Yes, I did. I was working together with my colleagues, assisting the head of Chancery at the time, Mr. Alusain.
Was solely the judge's right?
It was a period that the mission was heavily constrained. Because the building itself had dilapidated and the conditions were getting worse, onto the point that the heating system broke down.
When you say the building, which building are you referring to?
The Chancery building. So it became a building that was not fit for habitation, especially during winter. And then also we had a lot of rodents moving around the building, inside the building, and a lot of leakages.
So just to be clear, around this time in 2015, was there an operational Chancery building in New York?
There was, we had to move. The same
yeah, but where was that before?
We are at 245 East 49th Street, New York.
Is it different from the Chancery building?
That's the building. That's the property.
So in other words, you were at this building before you moved out?
I was at that building before we moved out. In fact, when I was there, I never had to sit in that building except perhaps in the evening when the building is closing and I need to go over there to complete some tasks because I had to work ahead of, firstly, the meetings the next day as well as ahead of Freetown to make sure that whatever briefings we had to pass over to Freetown, get down to Freetown. But that building was not really fit for purpose, so I had to actually start in that building. I was almost always at the UN.
Okay, so let's come back to that. We'll come back to your work schedule. Let's deal with the building. You've described the building as not fit for purpose, and that it was not habitable.
It was infested by rats.
So can you elaborate more on the condition of the building in 2015?
The building was decayed. That's the right word I use.
Yes, sir. You have to go slowly, Mr. Especially when the judge is writing.
Okay.
My attention and judgment come to that.
The building was in a state of decay. The rats and the roaches have taken over. The heating and cooling system has broken down. And the pipes were also not quite so good because we had a lot of leakages from the pipes. And then when it rains, usually officers will have to put like either umbrellas or buckets to catch the rainwater. So it was really in a very bad state, it was in a very bad condition.
Yes, I've told him he's talking too fast.
Okay. You know, I know
I think you don't change it.
I don't want to go very fast. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, but on my learning colleagues were also saying that.
Yes, because he's messing up his own case. If I can't get everything he's saying.
Time is of the essence.
Okay, so let us go about it more slowly. The building.
But the building was infested, it was decayed, rats and roaches had taken over, pipes had leakages, the system had failed.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, so now just listen to the question and then go slowly when answering. First of all, what was the height of this building in terms of floors? How many?
We used to have the basement, the ground floor, and then the floor above that, and then there was another floor.
Including the base well,
And then
how many floors?
There were about like 4 floors, something like that.
Including the basement?
No. Minus the basement.
But 4 floors outside of the basement or including the basement?
Well, sometimes it's confusing how to talk about that building.
Alright, you got basement. That's one. You got ground floor.
The ground floor that we entered.
No, you got a basement.
Yeah, there was a basement there.
That's one.
That's one.
Ground floor. First floor, 3. Second floor, 4.
4. Then there was another floor.
Another floor, making 5. So the basement and 4 floors.
Well, we normally do not count the basement. Yeah, the basement and 4 floors.
So let's start with the basement. Did you have chance or opportunity during that period to visit the basement?
I went there, I think, twice, and I never attempted to go there again.
Why?
It was an ugly sight. A very ugly sight. And when I went down there, one other thing that I noticed was that because one day I really had forced to go down there when I was alone in the building. I had some lights, and then we had this problem with the urinal. And each time you flush, it doesn't normally go, it comes back, and so I tried to check for myself to see what was really happening down there. And then the noise, all of that, so I checked, but there was nothing except the stench.
Basement, do you know whether it housed or contained anything at all?
Yes. There was there were installations there. The heater, which supplies warm water.
Was that in good working order?
That one was working. I think Mrs. Maturi had bought a new one before she left in 2020. So I had a new boiler down there. But that too was plagued with old electrical wirings that we are also at some point having some issues down there.
Okay. What about the ground floor? Do you recall?
The ground floor, the staircase had gone too bad. The staircase is up there. No. That's the second floor. The ground floor was where I'm supposed to be. That's the place that was even worse than all the other floors. Because towards the back of the building, where you had offices for the accountant, the secretary, and a colleague for the third committee, and then the consular officer, that area had gone too bad to the extent that when it rains, it pours down there. And they had to use buckets, umbrellas, to protect themselves from the rain. So everything was in disarray down there. The kitchen was also down there. That kitchen too hard.
Yeah, but just to be, because everything we are doing here is about that building. If you cannot recall, no problem. But if you can recall, do you remember the offices that were in that ground floor?
Yes.
Yes. Go slowly.
The office of the head of Chancery. The office for the secretary who served as secretary to the deputy permanent representatives. The office manager who also doubled as the assistant on consular matters. The colleague who was following the third committee. And the accountant.
What was the state of the electricals on that floor?
If you remember, because remember, we have getting with the electrical. It was also small little foreign. I have a video that I will share with you at some point at the appropriate time.
What about the plumbing? Do you have any idea?
Everything that building was bad. Everything that building needed urgent attention. Everything. From the rocks, you name it, everything. The staircase going upstairs was rickety and it was patched with, no, everything was bad.
Okay, well, I'm sure that is not going to stop, even though everything.
Yes, my lord.
Hello? Did you have chance to inspect that floor?
Yes, my lord.
Were you able to make any observation as
my lord?
The director?
That floor was the floor where normally we receive visitors that come to the mission.
So let's describe the floor. How was it like?
There was a staircase from the outside leading up to that floor. A step which has not been removed was there. That step itself had cracks in it that are quite visible and they look like they are going to fall apart.
What was it made of, if you can recall?
Of course, there was concrete on top of it, but I think they were like old brickwork, something like that.
As a staircase?
Yes, the staircase leading up there.
And were there any offices at that first floor after the ground floor?
No, my lord. There were no offices there except for the receptionist. Then the toilet. We had only male and female toilets down there. Then the closet for guests who come in to leave their food, or they have other items like bags that you can keep there for them. It was also the point where all consular documents were submitted or were dropped for the mission. Also the place where we normally receive visitors that come to the building.
Yes, so that takes us to the second floor. You leave that floor, you go to the second floor.
That floor was really bad. That very floor, before we leave it, that is where the toilet was, and normally it stinks.
That's the second floor?
The first floor.
Oh, you are still at the floor where
the first floor. Anybody who visited that building at that time knows what I'm talking about. They know what that building looked like. It was nothing to write home about, especially that floor which was exposed to visitors. It was a shame.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any other thing to say about that floor before we move to the second floor?
I think I've described it in one word, that particular floor was a shame.
Okay, so let's go to the second floor. First of all, were there offices in the second floor?
Yes, they were.
I'll go slowly, if you can recall what offices were there.
Before you go to that floor, you have to climb the staircase because there was no elevator in the building. The staircase was wooden. And it will not only creak, but it will kind of move or
Do you need some water, Mr. Nalo?
I have water. It will kind of swing, and we had a lot of patches on it, a lot of patches with some metal stuff being tied or attached to it. And it made it also difficult for the ambassador because the ambassador, that staircase was very close to the office of the ambassador at the time. And the ambassador was in a real difficulty in terms of not only sitting up there, but also receiving his colleagues or visitors who come to see him there. That floor was messy. The staircase, the floor itself.
Which floor are we on now?
We're talking about the second floor.
Second floor.
There were mold on the wall.
But my question was, if you recall the offices that were there. So
The office of the ambassador,
talked about the office of the ambassador. Yeah.
and then his section.
Those are the only two offices there.
It was a big office, very big. It occupied the entire floor.
Did it have, well, what do you have to say about the electricals and plumbing to the rest of the
The same, in fact, the ambassadors, they were really constrained in terms of using that office. New York is the center of the world, the center of global governance. That is the United Nations. And you have your colleagues from other countries, 103. Every given day, you must have a visitor coming to see you. Some either a permanent representative or maybe a minister from the country will come to visit. So each time they come, even from our own capital, people who are coming from Freetown. So the ambassador was constrained. So often they also would go and hang out at the UN.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Nalo, again, still watch your speed. So at the time you were there in 2015, was that particular floor used by the ambassador as an office?
Yes. But the ambassador seldomly starts in that office. Like I said, we prefer to go straight to the UN and we only come there later in the evening for meals, to collect meals. And we sit there for a little while and then that's it. Because the building was really bad, that floor was bad.
Okay. Okay. Was there another floor on top of that second floor? You said
We had another floor up there.
that's like the third floor now.
I will call it the fourth floor.
And we thought I'm in tune with you in terms of the floors.
And that's why I've clarified it in that we have a basement and 4 floors.
Yes.
As your lordship. So we've done the ground floor, which is the first floor, the second floor, the third. This should be the fourth.
The fourth floor.
Yes.
No, you've done the basement,
Yes.
you've done the 1st floor, you've done the 2nd floor, now you're doing the 3rd floor.
Okay. That's the third floor.
My lord, I think he asked me first about the basement, which I explained. They also
told you.
yes, they also asked me about the first floor, which is the ground floor, which I also explained. They asked me about the first floor, where I said we had the toilets and the reception.
The 2nd floor.
Yes, that's the second floor. They asked me about the third floor, which is the ambassador's quarters or his offices.
Going to the other floor.
And then the fourth floor, which is,
That's where we are going now, the fourth floor.
yeah, that floor used to house the 2 deputy ambassadors. There was another room there which was occupied by some colleagues.
My lord, put your mic on.
With your leave, I've been noting that there was the basement, first floor, second floor, and I believe we were now supposed to be on the 3rd floor, but he's making reference to the 4th floor.
Yeah, because the Americans count floors differently. That is why I started off with the basement.
As the first floor.
Yeah, no, the basement is the basement. We consider the ground floor, but they consider that ground floor as the 1st floor. That's the difference. But I'm fully in tune with him.
Obliged.
So we had 3 offices up there. One was occupied by the 2 deputy ambassadors. Another was occupied by 2 colleagues. And then we had, but that one that was occupied by 3 colleagues was really tiny. Even the one occupied by the 2 deputies was also not really quite befitting that of the status of an ambassador. And then there was another room which I was using. It was a very small room, just one person, just enter the other seat.
Okay, so I take it that there were no other floors after that 4th floor from what you get.
No, there are no other floors after that floor. But that floor too, I have been somebody who is allergic to all of this kind of death that was, or filth that was in that building. That office which was allocated to me was also, for the most part, not occupied by me because I had to stay out of the building for the most part. And like I said, I only come in like in the evening briefly, like the ambassador normally do.
Now, during that period, were there meetings held for the entire membership of the staff?
Meetings were held, yes.
So where were those meetings held?
In the office of the ambassador. It was the only space that we could utilize for that. But those meetings were also done mindful of the fact that the condition of the building did not really permit us to stay there for too long, especially for the ambassador's health. He was an old man. So we never had very long meetings there.
So coming back again, because we are still dealing with your recall. Did you, whilst there as director, at any point in time, have any idea as to any efforts being made to refurbish that building during that time?
I was there not as director, I was a councillor, which is equivalent to that of deputy secretary in the civil service. Amongst my many assignments, each and every one of us also had administrative assignments. I was also given the assignment to assist the head of Chancery as secretary of the committee that was set up to look into the possibility of renovating the building.
Okay, so there was a committee for that?
There was a committee.
Fine. So since you said you were the secretary to that committee. Can you tell us the composition of the committee, if you can recall?
The committee was chaired by the head of Chancery, and then the accountant, the military attaché,
So the accountant was a member of that committee.
the accountant was a member of that committee,
I was chaired by the head of Chancery.
chaired by the head of Chancery. Then there was also the military attaché, who was also part of that committee.
Military attaché.
Yes, please. And I think there are 2 other officers. My memory starts me well. It's such a long time now, but I was part of that committee.
Do you know who set up the committee?
It was set up by the head of Chancery.
And as secretary to that committee, did you recall the specific terms of reference of that committee?
Well, it was more like an exploration because, to be honest, like those before us who tried to fix that building, the mission was constrained in terms of funding. There was no money to do any work. And so we are holding meetings, coming up with ideas. Sometimes we seek advice from the neighbors, the very neighbor that took us to court now, this Janetadi, because they had moved in and they had also done their own rehabilitation of their own building. And then we went out to look at other missions and to see those who had done renovations and how they went about doing it. And we tried to compare and to know some of the people that were involved in those renovations in terms of the technical team, contractors, and all of that. We tried to get from them to assist us so that we could also reach out to those people, to the same people. And we also had a series of other meetings pertaining to how do we really get free time as capital here to provide funding for a very bad one at that, when we lost the residence of the ambassador in Mount Vernon. That building too was abandoned. It had dilapidated. At the time, it was a building that forced the city authorities to sell it, to kind of auction it, because we could not repair it.
And that is the residence of the ambassador?
Of the ambassador in Mount Vernon. It was quite an expanse, quite a huge building.
Okay, so let's come back to the Chancery.
Okay. So we had a very bad issue there. So because of that, we wanted to make sure that that did not happen to this particular building.
So as a committee, did you at any point in time come up with any key points or resolutions that you presented to Capital in respect of
yes, we did,
need for reformation?
Yes, we did. But before doing so, we also consulted Salonians in New York, in particular, who were also in building business. I remember there was one Mr. Kuruma, I cannot recall his first name. We engaged him, and he gave his services to us free bono. He helped us to also scout around and to look for options. And there were also ideas about getting people who are property developers to develop the property, and then we occupy a portion of it and then they rent the rest. It didn't work out because we tried several of them. Each time they come, they look at the building, they will tell us their building is not suitable for that because at the time we were not allowed to do any extension as they wanted to do. I think they wanted to add like 4 or 5 floors which they can rent and then they can leave the rest to us. But then, you know, I mean, you want to make profit at the shortest possible time.
Okay. Did you, during those meetings, keep minutes of meetings?
Yes, we used to have meetings, minutes of those meetings. But to be honest, I just can't remember or recall, except maybe perhaps if I were to check my email.
Okay. Now, in view of the fact that you've described this building at that time as being in this terrible state, do you know or not if there were any visits to that building during your time by the New York building department in terms of inspecting its state
Yes, they did.
conditions?
I think the neighbors have complained. The neighbors complained. And one day when I came back from the UN, I was told that our building has been declared unfit and that the insurance company, I think it was also...
So tell us what you know, not what you were told when you were not present.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
for the insurance company, I was around when they came in.
Okay.
They refused to renew the insurance for the building. And the reason why we actually left now that building was because even our health insurance insurer, they came one day and said to us that any illness emanating from related issues pertaining to that building, their insurance will not cover.
You were present when they came.
Yes, I was there.
So tell the court what exactly they said when they came.
Mrs. Maturi was there. I think I had just gone down there to meet Mrs. Maturi for something. I just wanted to them. And I stood there listening. It was not like a meeting that she invited me to know.
What did they say?
They are talking about the condition of the building. That they have come to understand that we do not have the property insurance. That's one.
Who said they had come to understand?
The health insurance company.
And when you say we do not have a property insurance, who is the we?
The mission.
Mission.
There was no insurance on that building. Even now, the other two buildings, they have declined to renew the insurance on them.
Okay, so apart from the health insurance, did any other New York State Department official?
They did. Like I said, after the insurance companies, the next thing we got was an inspection of the building.
By whom?
By the Department of New York.
Do you recall when that was?
No, I can't recall exactly. I was not in charge. I was just happened to be part of the mission, and so some of these things will not go unnoticed. Sometimes they will talk it at meetings. We get to know.
Were you present when they came to do the inspection?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. Well, let's fast forward a bit. You were recalled to Capital.
But before we fast forward, let me just throw a little bit of light on some of these challenges and how I actually got perhaps myself involved in all.
Were there challenges?
Yeah, I mean there are challenges for sure.
In respect of what?
Of the building. So we had to move out. We moved to Uganda House.
Well, you moved out of the building?
Yes, we had to. We are forced to leave.
When?
In 2015.
Do you remember the month?
I can't remember exactly the month, but we are forced to leave that building. I think it was around May, something like that. Around May.
Around May 2015. Where did you move?
I was about to leave New York at the time. My report was already in process, and they will move to Uganda House.
Go slowly, Mr. Nalo. Even my colleagues are writing.
Okay.
So you said you moved from that building to Uganda House.
We moved to Uganda House, and then we became, because Uganda House, we first moved to the 8th floor, which was quite small to host us, even though at the time the mission was small in terms of number of staff, yet it was still small for us. And we are having also...
sorry.
We are also having complaints.
No, when you moved into this Uganda building, and since you said you are councillor, which is, I mean, a very senior level in the mission, do you know if the mission had any arrangement with the Uganda mission in terms of occupying that 8th floor?
We have to pay rent. So we signed a lease agreement with Uganda House.
Do you recall how much that rent was?
It was something like, just something around, I believe around $14,000 to $15,000 per month.
A month?
Per month, for a very small space.
Do you recall how many rooms or offices were in that small space, the 8th floor?
There are only 2 offices and an opening, which the rest of mankind would have to sit, because the ambassador occupied one of those rooms. In fact, he did not fully occupy it, because what he did was he got us to put a small conference table there, which he would use to hold meetings with us, because there was no other space for that. And then the head of Chancery was squeezed in one small tiny place, and then we demarcated the place for the 2 deputies. Yes. But then,
Mr. Nalo, I mean, I just want to pinpoint certain things so that I don't lose track. Now, in just a short summary, can you specifically tell the court why the mission moved from where it was to the Uganda House?
I have explained that, but let me go back.
Hold on. Mr. Fofana, he explained all of that. The building was so bad that the insurance could not even be tasked with reinsuring the building. So it wasn't safe from a safety point of view, and they had no insurance cover. So they could not continue to stay there.
Thank you, my lord. And even the Inspectorate of New York.
Yes, because the neighbors were always complaining about our building, the state of our building.
Okay.
I think the rats, the roaches from our building, they are also invading their own property, even though they would do everything to clean up.
Okay, Mr. Nalo, I think we'll contact him.
Sorry, Mr. Nalo, all of these issues were happening in 2015.
Before 2015,
yes, but the high point of it.
Yeah, the high point of it was
2015.
Your recollections are primarily based on what you saw in 2015.
Yes. And let me also tell this court, my lord, that when we moved to Uganda House, we now came under pressure that we've abandoned that building. That's from the building department of New York. They reported the mission to the State Department, and the head of Chancery, Mr. Saidu, was invited to a meeting to the Office of Foreign Missions in New York. And we also received violations, letter of violation from the building department. They fined us. That is the mission. They fined the mission. And then the mission to do the sidewalk, which had also cracked, and that if anybody stumbles and falls there, we would have to pay the cost. And remember, we didn't have any property insurance. So, one day at the UN, my colleagues, one day at the UN, my colleagues approached me. They wanted to discuss with me, but then they said, "We'll come to my office."
When you say colleagues, your workmates or?
No, colleagues from other missions. Normally, we meet, we interact, sometimes over coffee, sometimes over lunch, or dinner. That's
Your colleagues from other missions approached you?
Yeah, they approached me. They wanted to meet in my office. First, as chair of the G7 Plus, experts, group of experts, they wanted to meet me. And I told them that I would rather host them at the Timor-Leste mission.
At what mission?
Timor-Leste. East Timor.
Oh, East Timor.
But then here is another one. The other colleagues from the C10, the committee that the President chairs for security council reform, they came. They wanted to see me in my office. I was right there with Mrs. Maturi, but I told them I was not there, that I have to meet them somewhere. Then the other day, the other colleagues from the Chinese mission wanted to see me. And I said to them, "No, you cannot come to my mission. We have to meet elsewhere." So they insisted, they came. And that's how the Chinese brought into this.
All right, hold on. Mr. Fofana,
Yes, sir.
if we accept at the barest minimum that this building was so bad that it was uninhabitable, would that assist you?
Yes, I mean, that is why when your Lordship summarized it, I just chose to.
And I don't believe Mr. Maxibo would not concede to that fact,
Well,
insofar as 2015 was concerned.
definitely not. We have no problems.
Your mic is not working.
His position is they definitely have no problems with that.
Yes, no problem. So, Mr. Nalo, let us just move on. I mean, now I know that you are at the verge of coming to Freetown. I know that you moved from the Chancery building to Uganda House, 8th floor. Eventually, did you come to Freetown that year, 2015?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall what month that was?
I remember I received a call. So at the time I was still trying to put Alan George
Remember the month?
into the driving seat. So I remember very well that in September when the delegation for the UNGA was in New York, I was told that the ministry had posted out some senior colleagues and that there was going to be a problem at HQ in terms of...
Mr. Nalo, do you remember the month?
Yes, I'm trying to just, by narrating this, I'm really trying to get my mind around.
You did say Mr. George arrived in New York in August.
In August, yes.
Right, so roughly how long after that?
So I think I left New York November or December, then about November or December. I think November.
And then you came to Freetown.
I came to Freetown.
But you were definitely here in December for Christmas.
Not really. Remember,
You went back.
I was leaving my family behind at the time because it was an urgent call to come to Freetown urgently because there were meetings that they wanted me to come and assist the ministry to prepare for. And so when I said that I needed to get my stuff packed and shipped, they said, no, you come and start work. At some point, we'll go back and pack.
Okay, so you came sometime around November. Already.
Yes.
So when you came, you continued to work for the foreign ministry.
Yes.
In what capacity?
I was assigned as the director. At that time, it was called International Organizations and Legal Affairs. But later, it was changed to Multilateral Division.
Multilateral and Legal Affairs Division.
Explain that so that the judge can take it. International organizations was changed to what?
Well, we have to deal with all matters.
It was changed to what?
Sorry?
It was changed.
Multilateral and legal
It was
affairs.
changed to Multilateral and Legal Affairs.
Yeah, briefly, what was its mandate? Briefly.
I support the office of the Director General to the Deputy Director General and of course the office of the Minister. That was my role. Basically, so all correspondence coming from multilateral organizations like the United Nations, we are dealt with by my division. Whenever they come in, either the DG or the DG will minister them to me, take action on them.
So during that time, did you, by chance, receive any correspondence in respect of the need to rehabilitate or refurbish the Chancery building? Did you come across any such correspondence?
When I arrived, I think I was on one day intimated by the then Deputy Director General that they were having problems with getting the funds from the Ministry of Finance to transfer to the mission in New York for that rehabilitation, because they have received a lot of correspondence from the mission explaining the urgency as the mission was now faced with a similar challenge that they were faced with when the property in Mangana was sold or was auctioned.
So did you come across any specific correspondence that you can recall?
Yes, I did. At the time, I was really like on the periphery of things until one day they invited me to one of the meetings. The DDG at the time invited me to one of the meetings to participate in that meeting.
DDG meaning?
Deputy Director General.
Okay.
But you know.
And what was the meeting about?
It was about the Israeli properties abroad, not only that mission. We are having problems with other properties as well. The properties in Addis Ababa, the contractors. Regarding
the property at New York, the Chancery building, was there anything discussed about that property in that meeting?
All the missions that have property issues were discussed.
Yeah, I'm narrowing it down.
Addis Ababa and Ghana, they were all discussed.
Yes, so.
Even the Gambia was discussed.
Okay, so let's come back to the Chancery building. Do you recall what was discussed about the Chancery building in that meeting?
First, it was about funding. All of them, it was about funding. Number two, my sense of the meeting was that, firstly, there was no particular person that would really sort of
want to take some water, Mr. Nalo?
No. It was like they really were having the constraint of having someone who would really take the fight seriously and move it to the next level in terms of getting things done. Someone who can move things, somebody who can get results, some result-oriented individual who can move things.
Where was this result-oriented person to be found?
Well, maybe that's why they invited me.
Now, the Ministry of Finance or Foreign Affairs?
Well, it was a question of the Ministry of Finance releasing funds first to Addis Ababa to continue with that construction work, for which work had stalled for a long time, and the contractor had threatened to take.
So let's come back to New York.
On the point that I'm asking you, what I want to understand is they said they wanted a result-oriented person. Where was that person to be found?
Well, they are looking within the ministry, because
Which ministry?
within our ministry, and also someone who can actually go around with the other MDAs that were involved in this, in terms of working with them, creating a platform that can all work together.
Now, would I also be correct that this meeting took place after your return to Twitter?
When I returned, honestly, I was not initially involved in this until.
No. I'll just be clear. The meeting that you were called to where the DDG was present, that meeting would have taken place after you returned to Freetown?
Yes.
And it took place in Freetown here?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yes.
Yes, so, I mean, we'll be moving away from that meeting soon, but I just want to know what was specifically captured in that meeting about the Chancery building in New York.
That Chancery building.
We know that there were other problems in Ghana, in Ethiopia. I want us to focus on the Chancery building.
The procurement unit of the ministry had advised the DDG.
When you say the procurement unit of what ministry?
Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Had advised the DDG to do what?
And now I'm trying to report some of the issues. They had actually advised the DDG that in spite of every effort by the head of Chancery to have the ministry to advertise the works for the construction of that building, we are constrained to do so because they needed the funds to be readily available before they go ahead to do so. And they did a commitment from the Ministry of Finance for that.
Okay.
I'm struggling to understand you. The procurement unit at Foreign Affairs advised the DGG of what?
Of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, advised them as to what?
That as a first step, the funds needed to be clearly identified and ring-fenced before they could make any further steps. But then,
Further steps, you said it in terms of advertising.
But I was not really involved in any of the procurement meetings. This was a general meeting. Because I was not part of the procurement unit.
So when you came back in 2015, did you continue to be in capital forever?
No, I was there until December 2017. But let me just finish with that one about that meeting.
Yes.
My advice at that time was that instead of writing memos and hiding behind memos, that bold steps should be taken to have meetings with officials at the Ministry of Finance to make sure that those funds provided by the partners were ring-fenced for the next budget, and that those funds should be remitted to New York. Then that will ease the burden or make it.
So you are now harping on an interesting area. You say the funds provided by the partners. To the best of your knowledge, were there funds provided in 2015 by any partner?
Those funds were provided earlier than that.
And what fund are you referring to?
The $2 million that was provided by the partners.
There was $2 million provided by which partner? You know?
You know, again, I mean, this is also part of the constraint. there are a lot of things, except maybe, for the sake of defense, but sometimes we are really constrained because being under the official secret oath, you are sometimes constrained not to release certain government information, especially about when it comes to partners.
All right. Hold on a minute. Gentlemen, Defense Counsel, Mr. Mason, Masibo, I think we need to take a break at this point.
And welcome to the broadcast live from the court number 1. Now, the main court na Freetown, where na Shakasimi Street, around the Chancery. And this is the matter between 5 people were indicted for the Chancery mission in New York. And I remember say this case involved when the 4th accused, when the leader for the All People's Congress, Samuel Matthew Wilson Kamara, amongst the 5 people who were indicted, and of course the person who na the number 1 indictee na Saidu Nalo. So even done they na the dock for cross-examination, and today then continue the proceedings. Remember, the court will resume the 14th of July 2023, where the judge Justice Adrian Fisher be adjourned because we didn't get the elections. So I decided for adjourn the matter until July 14th. So the case will resume again on the 14th of July, where Saidu Nalo been take the dock. Because in one of the accused them, where them they asking for the Chancery building na New York. So today, Saidu Nalo team up in the box again, where they get cross-examination from one of the leading lawyer for the defense, where na Pamomo Fofana. Well, Pamomo Fofana be asking a question about the Chancery building, and according to the explanation, the Chancery building gets up to 4th floor, where the Salone government occupy. Because we know that that Chancery building there, according to the tip-off where the anti-corruption will get, we make them investigate the Chancery building. Now that then we rehabilitate, they're supposed to rehabilitate the building because they've been on there in bad condition. So Mr. Saidu Nalo, when I the first accused, when I be the deputy head of mission, then they explain, but they describe how the Chancery building been there. They describe the 1st floor, the 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th floor. That indeed the Chancery building they need some renovation. Well, for that, obviously, they were able for renovate them because this is explained 2015 where it been there in New York, and they explained about how the building been there will make the need rehabilitation. That's a need for refurbish the building back so that it could be good for them, because even the neighbor them who been there occupied to that building they complain. Well, because the building they get some cracks they get some leakage. They've been talk about how when they flush, you go see the water they leak. You know, they explained say the building definitely will need some renovation. So the lawyer Pamomo Fofana, been asking for describe this building. And he even state the year that in 2015 we been there at the building. And he explained that in November he began for left for Camp Freetown because they may call him under emergency for le ego can help, you know, in some matters. And he explained about the meeting where they may get, and even explained that when the building is not so bad off, the insurance company not agree again for work with them because they're not going to insure a building way so bad off like that. So later on, they make it for move. And they go get another building where they call Uganda House, where that building there will be so small for them that they're like 2-room apartments with open space. And it not be even do for them. And the meeting where they should forget a small table they make inside one of the office where the Chancery, the ambassador will be occupied. So when he can Freetown by explanation, he can assist because they need them for can assist. So he can act as a deputy manager for an office where they create, where they change later to multilateral legal office. But he said he did work, and then after that, because he said an urgent call, then we call them for Camp Freetown for assist because they need somebody where you come direct them. So then we get a meeting. But then he said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs being they put out a bid for procurement that they won't forget somebody where then a master sabi people and procurement business for able for procure for then go be that building there. So then they pana building there now. Pana bid there forget somebody where go can do a procurement for then go able for know how then go refurbish or they go make that building they fine. Well, he say then we get donor there. And one of the donor we call that we decide for give like $2 million. The first instant able for start the work. But later on the lawyer Fofana been ask him if the time will come, return again. He say he been get for return back to New York because now the urgent call and he getting family we left the end. So it continue for explain about certain things them concerning that building. But this explanation all now in 2015. 2015 where he been there as deputy head of Chancery. So all that explanation we explain about the building, about how the building bad off, now all in 2015 for now. But I think say the judge take a break at a point which Mr. Nalo still been there at the dock. They answer question. In other words, the lawyer Pamomo Fofana been the interrogator, when they ask a question concerning the Chancery building at New York. So for now, another stage there we don't reach, whereby the judge don't take a break. We will get for resume back very, very soon. But we know how long this matter will not take place, even before the election. Even before Mr. Samuel Martin Wilson Kamara, then we get a convention we make a win as the leader of the All People Congress. This matter been there on, so they can be a leader and flag bearer of the All People's Congress. The matter been there, but just in the make of time, for there we will get elections. The judge began for adjourn the matter to the 14th of July 2023. That's just a month, 2 weeks after the election in June 2024. So the matter still will continue, and the judge can resume at any moment from now. But for now, the court is so jam-packed, and we see a lot of supporters of Samuel Kamara. They're all in a court for witness how the proceedings will go. We will bring them live to now the Salone Broadcasting Corporation as a fair play that the judiciary they ask for make we bring country now, so that una whether na also na get chance for come when I go get chance. But are there with the Director of Communications, where of course he also with me, and he can tell me exactly the high points of this matter. So I get with me El Castano, what are the Director of Communication. Welcome to SBC.
Famulem, on our afternoon. From court number 1, main law court building, Nashakastin Estate.
All right, now tell me, because this matter it don't go for long, you know. We don't know how long this matter can take, but the point we're doing now is like a course examination. But you can tell the points where we did now in this matter.
Now, Famulem, you have been to watch the tele. You go agree with me as say you dey watch na court, you see Judge Sidon, somebody dey talk. Wetin exactly happen? The Anti-Corruption Commission been make allegation on some of them people wey you see na court. Without saying na them people dey. Them people will get Saidu Nalo wey na the first accused. We'll get Bafomba, we'll get Dr. Samuel Martin Wilson. They're all there because they make an allegation on them. Why make they say so? Now for make you where they watch SLBC, you where in the past and tell people them say, them people here then take money. Or them people here now, so you already don't build your conclusion around them. Not also it be. Them people here, then they are as an accused person. Now that make we still call them accused person. It means say they're not guilty. You where they can go rumor and talk say that person then so you don't do, now so you don't do. That is wrong. We dey talk about the reputation of people. We talk about integrity of people. Where the courts wey get that mandate for tell you say no, this person here is guilty, or this person here is wrong, or this person here is not wrong. The allegation wey dem don put on her na so e be. Now basically we then at this court here because we get a money wey na 4.9 million wey dem say dem don misappropriate. E get for do with we Chancery building wey dey na New York, na United States of America. initially, when this matter started inside 2021, December 14, them in for camp, the one them wake out them na court when the Anti-Corruption Commission make them allegations them. Then when they come now, then say, then they make what we call no case submission. What it mean? It means say, then convince say, they not get case for answer. Now so them tell the court. The court say, okay, if we not get case for answer, una tell me why una feel say una not get case for answer. Then go into the argument. At the end of the day, then provide the strong arguments them. That is why I say them at the top about the defense and then and the prosecution. The SEC and the one them way they make allegation against. At the end of the day, the court been say, no, me I convinced say when I get case for answer. So if when I see we they are delicate today, now because the court be not say they get case for answer. So that case where they get for answer, now that make we they are delicate today. We be not go now New York for go watch the building. Why we go na the building family? We go na the building because conflicting evidence them in the come up. What's that mean? I mean say this person here they say this person here they say this. For example, one person say they add two additional floors. The other person say they not add 2 additional floors. The other person say this money where they give is not commensurate to the work. The other person say they not already complete the building. We been there for go because it been at the center of this matter here. We don't done with the locus inco report. Family we now follow exactly what happened. Now we don't done with her now. The first accused when I DW1 now he been start with the case. The last week he been start for talk. Today now in they continue for talk. Waiting in the talk. Waiting exactly in nobody case for proof in innocence because he not guilty it. He innocent by law. So we by section 23 of the Salone Constitution it say we as an institution we obligated, we duty bound for able to make sure say we provide the enabling environment for the accused people and make them go to fair trial. So what thing exactly you they see so now directive or direction where the constitution agree because family where una dey listen me or when una dey watch SLBC, I want me you know say we as an institution everything what we dey do now within the remit of the law. Now wetin the law they tell we now we dey do. So because we now the referee, we want make sure say the accused people they feel comfortable. The accused people feel say then they are protected because now accused they're not guilty it. So that man the way they see that first accused defense witness one where na Saidu Nalo it been take we to exactly wetin happen where it been dey serve as the head of Chancery na New York. I don't want to repeat wetin he say because my own responsibility not for add not for talk wetin he say. I just give a summary of wetin exactly they happen at court. So if you see that man in the talk, then they ask him a lawyer they talk now because in lawyer they lead them in evidence for say for able to take and to because na in lawyer na for protect them bambai na in they talk on his behalf but na insect need for talk not a person for talk for am na insect need for talk and tell you because na in they come with even though lawyer dey but na in they come with now e get opportunity also for come with witnesses dem any amount of witness if you say e go come with the witness themselves go get for talk where in talk the second person go for talk third person tell the one dem wey feel say dem need for talk then talk wey dem talk at the end of the day dem go get for do closing submission at the end of the day we go get for withdraw the file for final judgment so but as it is we no reach that side because the matter don tey na for me una know say not a judiciary involved. I just tell una say there was an argument on no case submission wey dem get for done. Then also the SEC their young witnesses dem not to Salone some of them in there out of the country and dem get for flight business get for involved for can witness and apart from the flight business wetin dey happen then some of them people na workman dem get for go through administrative procedures until dem fulfill am then the office get for release them for calm talk. So exactly what in the creates the delay, now that we make. But I sure say, oh, if you don't come for good and well, make sure say this matter here, we done them quick one, make everybody go about in business. But also, I want to assure una and reassure una say, in as much as una they watch SLBC and watch the other respective media platforms there, we go continue. Why will they continue? Because you don't begin ready for go take that they say. Why would they continue? Because you will save the watch for make you get an opportunity for go lie, employ people in reputation, for able to make sure say make you peddle lie. So now for stop that then say listen now to the television, take your Android phone, subscribe and go na SLBC then Facebook page or listen to radio and you able to get exactly what's in the happen. Now the judiciary under the leadership provided by the current Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Desmond Babatunde Edwards, don't decide for committing administration to timely delivery of justice. And therefore, now that we they are for able to do it. But how will they do them? Will they do them in a very accountable, transparent manner? Why would they do all lengthening? Because we want to maintain the integrity of the judicial process. Remember, say the judiciary we there for serve, we there for do justice delivery, not so we they go advertise. So many kind of case you work in Sudan, they lie by the judiciary. Where they Sudan, you not get work now for course we judge with them, now for course we staff them. You need at sure say now for make you get rethink, make you know say we will not go advertise, so make case come to we now constitutional mandates now no more we they do because now only one Salone judiciary we get in this country. You get a responsibility for support we for able to make the judiciary an envy within the sub-region rather than you see them they criticize well you know what nothing good for Salone now for stop that habits they now.
Right. Now let's go back to the matter. Now 5 accused them, but then we see now 4 they na court. What will happen with the 5th accused?
I think in lawyer camp not well. Them I think he been going under surgery operation. So he respect the court. He been initially found with a matter now. He been there because of he been get health issues. He been there for camp and make requests for go for further treatment. We make him go for further treatment, but I think then tell and say he need for rest. Until the matter they go on. When the time reach for make it come, the court go call him. He go come, you go see him, and you go hear waiting exactly the happen. But also maybe we get an opportunity again for video link if they make application for that day. But as it is now, it don't come bring them to the attention of the judge. Where the judge will say make it provide the required evidence. Not for talk no more say this person are not well, but back them up with evidence that is medical report, medical evidence. I think with the hospital or Lenkantin where the courts now in the judge where they preside over this court here now in get the discretion for talk waiting exactly get for happen whether it go one time or it not go one time. But as it is in lawyer they in attendance from even when we go to New York, in lawyer been there with we. When time reach, where time reach, normally they can talk and a fully compliant.
Now, Saidu Nalo don't continue, for the evidence as to what you know about the matter. So that's what I can forget from the other accused.
Yes, family. What you don't read that man don't talk. Where been there in that box where you been the see so. That man where been there in that box where you been the see. Now in called Saidu Nalo. Now the first accused person and defense witness 1. He don't tell we exactly what he know about the case. He don't start for tell we and they tell we what he know about the case or what in your defense. Now he don't come with so. He will continue for talk. Like when they talk, when he done, if you get witnesses, then the witness, then they come and talk. The second person back, what you see exactly he do, and so the second person get for until they're all done, then witnesses are done, then cross-examine them, they argue, then at the end of the day, before the courts, they decide on whether waiting for rule on the matter. so the court will decide now, the judge where they preside over the matter can able come now and tell we openly again for say they're guilty or they're not guilty, but as it is will not reach that side day itself. So not go again for talk say them people are them thief money or them people are them guilty na thief man. No, we know the treat them so. Then they are before we as an accused person.
So in other words, this matter, I want you to see in 2-3 months you not go down.
No, it not go reach 2-3 months. It not go. I sure say it not go reach 2-3 months. Now that make now the court they put them under pressure for able to make sure say that we do them so fast. Una family, una see say the adjournment not been too long, safe. From last week we get this adjournment. Now because that time they were the first accused me they talk in court, he been cry. I think he been so emotional, where he cry, where the lawyer been there for access for make in clients get a very good state of mind, so that he go be mentally alert when they lead them in evidence. So that will make them adjourn the matter to today. Today, I should say he emotionally stable and he psychologically okay as he talk on all the watch wetin he say. So that person the way una been see na so the incompetent level come back and talk exactly wetin the nobody case.
All right. Now, okay, tell me generally, because you say the judiciary obviously as we don't look at now, even some matters that we not all the kinds of free talk now, or we get judges now we don't judge them now they go deal with matter them offline, especially then criminal matters.
Yes, in fact, if we get that support where we need, where the government will provide for we, I want to commend them because government so outstretched. The Honorable Chief Justice in commitment now for able to make sure say the court don't get magistrate them all about the country. We also want to get judges them at every district. Right now, we don't get enough judges them. We magistrate and judges put together, not even reach 100. Other places like Tanzania, just the magistrates them no more. Them over 500. Now Tanzania no more. Then where they are, we get 34 magistrates. And of that 34 magistrates that we get, nobody know they will get vehicle. We judges them, some of them not even get vehicle. But still, amidst those difficult challenges, they're still the upline, then they do work. So even though una where they criticize, una don't know the challenge where the Salone judiciary will go to. We also challenge, but we know that because we get a Chief Justice where no they take no for an answer, waiting in there about now result, because it don't make commitments to the people of this country and say if we're able to make sure say it transform the judiciary so that the Salone judiciary will become an envy within the sub-region. People will they come emulate the good work where the Salone judiciary will do. Now that make we they do all and like you said, we get this when the elections they come. 3 months to the elections, the Honorable Chief Justice will not assign 26 judges them, all about, place them beside judge not in the Sudan, now then the Sudan did. Then 26 judges them farm them. Now for decentralize the justice system or the judiciary in a very effective and efficient way. Because before now, when them cases then they come, now Freetown they all the wrong camp. Even when parliamentary petitions, now then they come. The Honorable Chief Justice said no. One, in wisdom with a management, say we need for shift that financial burden on the people. How we for shift that financial burden on the people? More careful cuts to them. Then also the risk involving traveling for come out from Kailan, Camp Freetown. All that they involved in that risk for Sidon and Motoka all day for Kamia just for Sidon court for you can per court business. And so no, we probably also shift that trauma, traveling trauma on the people. Now, Kailan, when something happened there, now the entire district, if you na member of you na been candidate, you feel dissatisfied, you feel aggrieved, take your matter to Kailan court. If you there na Kwenadugu Falaba, take your matter na Kabala, you dey Cambia, all the side and we get judges them way there. So then sit down now then places them for people make sure say them deal with all the matter they are where we come. So personally I the struggle for Cambia, me I get difficulty transportation, difficulty with my witnesses. No, this na a new judiciary. This na a judiciary where come for able to make sure say we mandate we do them in a timely and impartial fashion. We don't want to know who you come out. We don't want to know your social status, whether you get money or you don't get money. We don't want to know your political affiliation. We don't want to know your regional background. You're not Muslim, you're not Christian, you're not pagan, or which. We don't want to know that. What's important to you, what you can afford, if not for justice, you can. We have to provide them for you because we are obligated to that.
All right. Now, what you go say? When people say, some man say they don't get confidence in court, in the court system. You know, in this country, but we're not getting another one. Whatever the circumstances, we get matter, we pass through the police, etc. So, whose lesson this will learn to people them, for them to understand, so for the trust, we institution them, or they deal with issues.
In fact, from them, they listen me. If you then na secondary school, you want come university, you don't go read law. Now yeah, they come for camp practice law. Okay. Even if you're not a lawyer, you don't feel say somebody don't hurt you, you don't feel aggrieved. Now court you the car. If you say you don't get confidence because you come to court, you lost case, say for you don't get confidence in the judiciary. It's wrong. Not to always you come to court, you win case. If you get bad case, even when you feel say you don't get the justice of your case, not to one where you wait there for deliver judgment in your favor. You want for use the courts for your own selfish interest. Even when you feel say you not get better case. Some people and they come with. I remember somebody called me. I say I get somebody will go cost me wealth. What do you want me you do for me? I just want make the matter come Friday, make the person go spend weekend, then for teacher lesson. Imagine you where want use me for your own personal interest. If I've been do that day, now justice that day. That's so unfair. When we learn to give respect to people.
At the dock, and everybody they go back at. They prepare themselves for taking the seats because the judge will appear at any moment from now. My name is Dan Mosse. Bye-bye.
Your defense and your rights as an accused person is being protected by this court, and nothing will be kept under the carpet. I mean, you will be fully given the opportunity to defend yourself to the best of your ability. So that said, we'll just move on from where we stopped, and if you have any to you your rights as enshrined in the Constitution. So I think that is clear enough for me to move on.
Well noted.
Okay. So you mentioned about a certain fund that you highlighted was provided by a development partner, which I think is okay. And you said that sum was $2 million, not so?
Yes.
So do you know if this development partner provided any other fund to the best of your knowledge?
The first was in 2011 or 2012.
And how much was that?
That was 2 million. The second was in 2019.
The same partner?
The same partner. The first, in 2019.
So slowly discuss now.
In 2019, the then ambassador, Francis Kaikai, actually engaged that partner for the purpose of, in fact in 2018 to be precise, November 2018, they engaged them for the purpose of additional 2 floors to the Chancery building. And the same partner provided additional $2 million. But then,
slowly, Mr. Nalo.
Mr. Francis Kaikai then as ambassador advised the partner to remit to Freetown in 2 tranches. The first payment was made around February 2019. And the second was paid sometime around July, August 2019. Thereabout. July, August. Thereabout.
Okay, so coming back to that first payment of $2 million, do you know if that money was disbursed to the mission in New York?
Well, going through the records, when I went to New York, I saw the correspondence about the remittance of $1 million in 2016. And no further payment was made.
Who remitted that money to whom?
It was from the Ministry of Finance through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually had put a lot of pressure on the Ministry of Finance to release those funds.
You remitted it to whom?
To the mission in New York. I think that document, the same document that I'm talking about, was at some point before this court.
Yeah, we'll come to that. I mean, we're just doing the narrative. So. Do you know what happened to the other $1 million? Was it also remitted?
Well, we are now doing remittances in bits. Because when I took over as head of Chancery, they have stopped making payments since September 2017. And it took like...
Hold on, Mr. Nalo, hold on.
When you say payments were stopped in September, where?
They have stopped making payments since September 2017.
And the day is referring to whom?
Because the first...
The day that stopped making the payments.
Well, the mission could not pay the contractor any longer after exhausting the
focus on the day. Who is the day that stopped making payments?
The mission, because they have run out of
we are talking about the $1 million that you said.
The $1 million was paid from Freetown to the mission in New York.
Because they're outstanding, or there was $2 million.
No, the remaining $1 million was still in Freetown.
By the time you went in 2017?
Yes.
Okay, so when you said, because we need to clear the records, when you said that they stopped making payments, what were you referring to?
I'm referring to payments made to the contractor at the time by the mission.
So, okay, the mission did not make any payments to the contractor from September 2017?
Yes, my lord. Because they had actually utilized the $1 million.
Hold on. Now, the question Mr. Fofana asked was 1 million, you said, was paid
In
for
2016.
Freetown to New York in 2016.
Yes, my lord.
Now, Mr. Fofana's point was another 1 million. Your evidence was that the remaining 1 million was paid in tranches or no other payments were made?
No, the other $1 million was still in Freetown. So when I assumed office,
All right. So the second 1 million was still in Freetown. All right.
Up to the time you assumed office,
only the time I assumed office,
in what year?
in December 2017.
27.
Assumed office in New York.
In New York.
Yeah.
So you were saying something, when you assumed office, did you do anything about the 1 million?
Yes, because when I assumed office in December, there was already a problem. But you know, the history of this Chancery building is really quite complex.
All right, Mr. Nalo, listen. For your own good, you need to focus on what your lawyer is asking.
Okay.
All right? If you want you to explain, he will tell you to explain.
Okay.
All right, but don't go on a tangent.
Okay.
I mean, we are all historians, I will go to the history. Let's focus on. So now, you have assumed office, and you said this 1 million was still in capital, Freetown.
Yes, my lord.
Did you do anything about it as head of Chancery?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
What did you do, sir?
I was in New York on 17th on 18th of November, of December 2017, and I reported for duty, but could not assume the duties of head of Chancery at the time until March 2018.
So, did anything happen to the $1 million to the best of your knowledge?
Yes. When I eventually assumed office, that was as a result of the predecessor. He was away from New York, and even the office was closed. I couldn't access anything. And
eventually, were you able to access this one?
In March, I wrote to Freetown explaining the circumstances surrounding the constraint.
That is March 2018 now?
March 2018. The constraint that the mission was faced with, and also threats of a lawsuit by the contractor, because the subcontractors had actually gone on a strike. He had tried to maintain a low presence on the job, and
subcontractors of whom?
Of the contractor.
Who was the contractor?
Mr. Jules Davis Fairfield Construction Company.
So apart from them going on strike, were there other challenges to the best of your knowledge?
The major challenge was funding, because they cannot go on with the work without getting the funds to do so. He had actually tried to maintain some kind of small presence on the job in order not to go into conflict with the law of New York. Because if you had abandoned the project site, that was going to be another issue.
So, you said you contacted Freetown in respect of this $1 million.
Yes, I did, but not for the entire $1 million. What I made at the time, that was the one of contention in terms of monies owed to Mr. Jules Davis, was temporary concern to address those backlog payments, and then to also find a way to move forward, to move the project forward. That's what my concern.
Are you saying there were backlog payments owing to Mr. Jules Davis?
Yes, my lord.
Do you know how much that was?
I would have to go through my papers because I have some.
We'll be coming to that. I mean, I'll be showing you the exhibits in the court. I just wanted us to deal with this, the source of funding for the building. So, sorry, I'm bringing you back because it appears I took you to New York as head of Chancery when you were still here in Freetown. Because I just want to close in on Freetown so that we now have to officially move from Freetown to New York where you became head of Chancery. So, sorry, I'm bringing you back, but I just wanted to clarify something about your role in Freetown before going back as head of Chancery.
As I said earlier, I was the director of multilateral.
Yes, you've said that.
And my role was to manage the day-to-day affairs of that directorate.
Okay.
And I was also to advise.
Okay, just wait for my question then. I mean, you've said all of that before. I mean, so what I want to know from you, because you said you came very late to Freetown. I mean, because they urgently needed your services and your skill. Now, back in Freetown, where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is, that is the entire ministry, were you able to understand the organogram of that ministry in terms of command and control, who is answerable to who?
Yes, very much, because I was also involved in the then reform of the ministry that was ongoing.
When you came back in 2015, you were involved in the reform of the ministry.
I was.
So first of all, can you tell us whether the ministry had any structure when you came?
Yes, we had.
Yeah? You have from the top, who was?
We had a Director General, Deputy Director General 1, that's for administration.
Custodian, the judges, right?
Deputy Director General 2, that's for policy. Then we had Assistant Deputy Director General for policy, Assistant Deputy Director General for administration, the Director of Administration, and the regional directors for, we had Director for Europe, Director for Asia, Director for the Americas, Director for Africa.
You call all of these regional directors?
Yeah, and Director for multilateral. Then the protocol directorate. Then of course the procurement unit was there.
So there was a procurement unit?
There was a procurement unit.
Very well. So did you have any idea of what that unit was in terms of its constitution?
I hardly ever met with the officials of that. I already had a very busy schedule, and I was always almost on my toes. So I had really very little time for any other thing that was around in terms of getting myself.
Okay,
I mean, that unit was way out of my...
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so having given us this structure, do you know, or if you don't, you can tell the court, if there is any directorate or division of the structure that you have given us that dealt with the rehabilitation of buildings under that ministry?
You know, there was a memo. I think the former Director General was here the other day. In fact, the two former Director Generals, one is deceased now, with their social rest in peace. I think they told this court, they testified here, that when it comes to government of surrounding properties, the Deputy Director General was charged with that responsibility.
But there were several Deputy Director Generals. Which one?
Deputy Director General.
Deputy Director General of Administration was charged with management of government buildings.
He was directly put in charge of all renovation related matters regarding our missions abroad. All rehabilitation or renovation works.
Renovation works?
For our missions abroad, our properties abroad.
So in 2015, do you know who that DDG for administration was?
Yes, it was Mr. Paul Mina.
Paul Mina.
So in which year?
In 2015.
2015, 2016.
2015, 2016.
Until the time I left, before he became Director General.
Now, I need to bring you back to New York. You have served as the Director of Multilateral Cooperation, and you said you served till 2017.
2016, 2017, as Director of Multilateral.
Yes. So eventually you are moved back to New York.
Yes, I was moved back to New York.
Okay. Is there any reason why you were moved to New York?
You know, perhaps I got to know only after consulting my bosses, and then I got to know perhaps why. Because trust me,
What was the reason?
I was a little bit taken aback. I didn't want to go back to New York. I think I said that before. The reason was that Mr. Sise was retiring.
Who is Mr. Sise?
The then head of Chancery.
Okay.
And we needed somebody with the capacity and understanding of the work of the United Nations and its subsidiary bodies in order to
needed somebody with an understanding of the United Nations and its subsidiary bodies in order to
enhance Sierra Leone's visibility and participation, as well as to explore areas that Sierra Leone could possibly tap into for the good of the country.
Was there a memo that posted you to New York?
Yes, I have that. I have my recall letter in the first instance, then I have my postage letter.
We shall be making all of these documents available to you. But just before we begin to deal with the documents, when you were recalled as head of Chancery in New York, you were given specific tasks and mandates, not so?
That's when I was assigned to New York?
Yes.
Now hold on. You said when you was recalled from
When you
New York.
were posted, my apologies, my lord, no, this recall is entirely deleted. When you were posted to New York.
For my briefing,
Yeah.
there were concerns about some gaps in the mission, in the work of the mission.
Specific.
And, you know, sometimes I really don't want to delve into some of these issues because it will seem like I'm talking more about myself.
So you were given specific terms of reference as head of Chancery?
Yes, I was. But again, that was also because, you know, the back about the civil service, when you work too hard and you know you can get things done, so they always put you in the hot spot. You're always in the hot seat.
Okay, so let's deal first with the specific task that were assigned to you, and then we'll deal with the other things that made it a Herculean task for you, if any, hotspot. What were your specific terms of reference, the mandate that was given to you as
It was broad.
Huh?
It was broad. Firstly, as head of Chancery, my primary responsibility is to coordinate the work of the staff of the mission and to supervise them in a manner that will bring out the best for Sierra Leone. Secondly, we are still having a lot of issues with the UN with regards to, remember we had graduated from the Security Council agenda, and we are now talking about at the time about peace consolidation as opposed to peace building at the time, because we have moved on, and we are also talking about how do we work out of fragility, and the other political questions have to do with the issues that we are easily confused.
So in view of that, what was your mandate in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I was also supposed to be there to sort of monitor the work of mine and supervise them and to make sure that they do the right thing. But the trouble was...
So let's deal with that first. We are supposed to monitor and supervise them.
Yeah, because they have sent new staff there. The only old staff that was going to inherit, who also did not stay for long, was the finance man and Mr. Alan George. The rest of
okay, so when you went to New York, you went with new staff, except those two.
They had gone ahead of me for like 2 months or 3 months. We should have gone together, but because I was delaying my going, they had gone ahead. Because I knew that it was going to be a Herculean task, if not perhaps doing their own job, as well as mine. Because New York is not a place where you just go and throw somebody into. It's not easy, especially if you don't have the background and the right training.
So, okay, apart from supervising and monitoring them, did you have any other tasks?
Yes, administrative tasks. The overall administration, especially the day-to-day functioning of the Chancery, and all other administrative related matters.
And by the administrative related matters, did it touch and concern the rehabilitation works at the Chancery building?
Yes, that falls directly under administration.
Were there any formal handing over notes from your predecessor when you went as a head of Chancery?
No, there was no. I saw him only once when he came to New York in March. And then the next day he sent the keys to the office with the driver.
Was there any formal handing over notes?
No, there was no. I had to go to memo to the text to say something.
Apart from the notes, and given that this Chancery building was part of your duty or mandate or responsibility, did your predecessor, former head of Chancery, conduct any tour of the existing Chancery building before he left New York?
No, I told you I saw him only once. He came in briefly. He came in, he opened the office, he went in there, collected some papers, then he locked and left. Then a few days
Locked
later,
the office and left?
yes, he locked the office and left. He still went out with the keys. Then a few days later, he sent the keys with the driver. So I have no access whatsoever to any, like the office, as well as any other property that belonged to government at the time. Nothing absolutely until the end of March
2018. So, were you able to access any documents that pertain to the building, Chancery building, eventually?
At the time, Mr. Sheku Mesali, who is now the Deputy Ambassador in Washington, was the one that was acting as head of Chancery when I arrived. And he was also the gentleman.
Slowly, the judge is writing Mr. Mesali was acting as head of Chancery.
As head of Chancery when I arrived. And Mr. Mesali was also the officer that was managing the file for the building. He was more or less the focal point.
Yes, let's get that.
Who was erroneously referred to as the procurement secretary.
Okay, let's get that. Mr. Sheku Mesali, who was acting head of Chancery, was the focal person for.
He was in charge.
When you arrived.
He was in charge.
He said they erroneously referred to him as what?
Procurement secretary. Because we don't have a procurement unit in that place, but for the convenience of the work, I think it was perhaps it sounded maybe good to call the committee as procurement committee, but they had no procurement training, no procurement functions, not absolutely.
Okay. So I'm trying to reconstruct how it went when there was no formal handing over, there was no conducted tour, and the keys just came in suddenly. How did you really start the first day? How did you start?
Oh, like a fire brigade officer. The contractor was already in trouble with the subcontractors, and he was also in.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
We have not paid them since September, and he was also in trouble.
Since September of what year? Because you are talking about March 2018.
2017, and he was also in trouble with. He was also going to get into trouble with the city authorities and the neighbors.
Or the contractor?
The contractor.
Why?
So that's the heart of New York. Manhattan, close to the Leone. It's a prime area. Property prices will be affected if your own property is not fit enough. And that also affects even.
Okay, so because of the condition of the building, you stated that earlier that it was like a hazardous spot. You said that. Did you have eventually any meeting with the contractor and the subcontractors in view of the fact that you said that the building was now part of the mandate?
I did, after several consultations. What I was waiting for, perhaps at the time, because I didn't have the benefit of sitting down and talking with my predecessor. So what I did was, I waited for the ambassador to come. He was away from Freetown at the time.
Who was the ambassador?
Ambassador at the California Simon. Because everybody was hiding from the contractor. Everyone was hiding. When he comes in, nobody will go in and hide.
Why?
The embarrassment.
Why were they embarrassed?
This man was desperate. One of the main subcontractor was on his neck, and he even took him to court later on. They were in court. And
You were in court for what?
for non-payment, I even had to,
Who took
the subcontractor, they took CRC construction company to court.
Do you recall the name of that subcontractor?
I remember his name as Billy.
Huh?
Billy.
Billy.
I normally don't get trust because I really don't want to get caught into anybody's conflict. That was the contractors, he hired him.
Internal conflict.
I have nothing to do with subcontractors because for me, when he wanted to bring Billy in the office, at the first time I resisted. Because
So you said Billy took the contractor to court for non-payment.
the name of the story, 3A, something like that. I would have to check the records.
Non-payment of what?
Non-payment of money owed to them.
Okay.
For the period that I kept them on the job from September.
Okay, so since you did not hide, unlike the other guys, you were bold enough to meet eventually with the contractor.
That was after consultation. Because I wanted to know. Yeah, I wanted to know. So I had to consult Mr. Misali and the other mission started. There are those who are members of the committee.
The judge is writing, sir.
Those who are members of the committee that we are dealing with the supervision of the Chancery building and the contractors. So I spoke to Mr. Misali, I spoke to the accountant, I spoke to Mr. Alan George, I spoke to Colonel Moana Masakwe, who is now the Deputy Minister of Defense. He was on his way out. I also spoke to the gentleman who took over from him. So after those consultations, I approached the ambassador. And I explained the situation to him.
That was about the building.
About the building. But he too was almost in transition. There was nothing really he could do. So everything was like on my shoulder. It was a period of transition.
The ambassador at the time you say was the second accused?
Yes, my lord.
So when you say period of transition, when did he eventually leave the mission?
Well, you know, the sooner he was recalled, that also makes it difficult for him to...
When did he tell us when first?
He was there until July or so.
What
June,
year?
around June, July, but he was constrained.
What year?
2018. I think he will give clarity to that, but I think he was there until around June or so. He was constrained because by then he really didn't have that kind of authority again.
Okay, let's leave that for him. So this thing about Mr. Jules Sanders, contractor, we shall be zeroed in on that, and that is where the trust of our case will lie. You've done too well, and I will respectfully seek the leave of the court because I see the veins and nerves on your temple now standing out. If respectfully the court can give us a break, we'll go and rearrange our documentation. Or you want to say something before I ask leave of the court?
No, you are talking about the facial, but it has to do with each time I recall those bad, ugly memories. You know, it's different things from you altogether.
But also standing in the box for long is another. But I don't know what your disposition is. I'm sure when we have now come in on the actual matter, the Chancery building. Everything that we are doing was background. So we hope that when we come next, we'll really deal with the issues before the court. And I'm sure we should be able to complete all the well.
So have you not dealt with the issues before the court?
In periphery. That was in periphery when Mr. Nalo was traveling on sojourn in various...
So where are we now? Are we in New York or we're back to Vita?
No, we are now in New York. Where he's head of Chancery.
So we're in New York now?
Where he's head of Chancery.
Alright.
He went to New York once, came back, and that is why we were sojourning.
And now he's now venturing into Mr. Kevao's case, or Mr. Yamakoma's case as well.
I don't know if Teddy in the court, my lord.
What's your problem?
I think Teddy has been selling a surrogate. You know, but if I recall, the order did not say a surrogate can come. He said Teddy.
And you know, I'm going to get all my notes from this gentleman because he has been, even when I sneeze, he will write sneeze.
He's acting on instructions. To write everything.
And Teddy's case is all hanging on your telco.
My lord, when he came in, I actually grew him. I mean, you were not paying attention. I said, this spider thing is not going to help.
Spiders always get a bite. Mr. Nalo, the council is asking that we give you a break. Right? So you can recover and to come back to continue with your evidence. Bad memories are memories everybody has. But your ability to overcome bad memories is what makes you a man. Right? So you need to forget about the bad memories and focus on even worse memories. You don't focus on your evidence. Right?
Thank you, Madam.
Gentlemen, with respect to the discussion earlier on this morning, I'll be giving some orders to deal with that this afternoon. And against the next adjourned date, if there are any of those issues arising, they will need to be sent in by way of motion so I can deal with them before next week. Right? So the timetable is tight, but please, if you have them, let the prosecution know. Prosecution, if you have issues, so far as we discussed, deal with those. I'll deal with those before we come next week. Right? So we'll adjourn to the 26th of July. That's next week, Wednesday. 6th of July at 10. Please, court is still in session. The bill will continue for all Wednesday at 10:30. Thank you, please.